Learning goals. Welcome to this learning session on probability fundamentals, likelihood and scales. In this course, we shall address Introduction to probability, outcomes and events defined, likelihood, words and numerical scale, calculating simple probabilities, applying probability, real-world practice. There will be a quiz at the end to test your knowledge.
Introduction to probability. Probability is a branch of mathematics concerned with quantifying the chances of outcomes and events occurring. It provides a framework for understanding uncertainty and making informed decisions in situations where results are not guaranteed. This field is crucial in diverse areas, from predicting weather patterns to analyzing financial markets, and even in the design of artificial intelligence. For instance, in finance, probability helps assess investment risks, while in medical research, it determines the effectiveness of new treatments. Understanding probability allows us to move beyond mere guesswork and apply a systematic approach to predicting future occurrences. Outcomes and events defined. An outcome is the specific result of a single trial or experiment. For example, when rolling a standard six-sided die once, each number from 1 to 6 represents a distinct outcome. These individual results form the basic building blocks of any probabilistic analysis. An event, on the other hand, is a particular result which may consist of one or more outcomes. For instance, if you roll a die, getting a number greater than 4 is an event that includes two outcomes, rolling a 5 or rolling a 6. Events can be simple, involving a single outcome, or compound, involving multiple outcomes. Consider drawing a card from a standard 52-card deck. Drawing the ace of spades is a single outcome. However, drawing any red card is an event comprising 26 different outcomes, all hearts and diamonds. Describing likelihood with words. To qualitatively describe the chance of an event happening, we use a set of specific words. These terms range from impossible for events that cannot happen to certain for events that are guaranteed to occur. Understanding these terms is the first step in grasping probability. The spectrum of likelihood includes impossible, can't happen, unlikely, low chance, evens, as likely to happen as not, likely, high chance, certain, must happen. Additionally, for events very close to the extremes, we can use very unlikely or very likely to provide more nuance. For example, the chance of winning the Mega Millions lottery jackpot is very unlikely, with odds often exceeding 1 in 300 million. In contrast, the sun rising tomorrow is certain. The numerical probability scale. Beyond descriptive words, probability can be precisely represented using numbers on a scale from 0 to 1. This numerical scale allows for quantitative comparison and calculation of probabilities, forming the basis of statistical analysis. On this scale, 0 represents an impossible event. 0.5 represents an evens chance, meaning the event is as likely to happen as not. 1 represents a certain event. Events considered unlikely fall between 0 and 0.5, while likely events fall between 0.5 and 1. Often, these probabilities are converted to percentages for easier understanding in daily contexts. For instance, a 0.7 probability of rain is commonly expressed as a 70% chance, making it more intuitive for the public. This section explains how to calculate the probability of a simple event. It focuses on the ratio of favorable outcomes to total possible outcomes. The fundamental way to calculate the probability of a simple event is to divide the number of favorable outcomes by the total number of possible outcomes. This ratio, always between 0 and 1, gives a quantitative measure of likelihood. For this calculation, it is assumed that all outcomes are equally likely. The formula for probability is P event equals number of favorable outcomes, total number of outcomes. For example, when rolling a fair six-sided die, the probability of rolling a 4 is 1/6, as there is one favorable outcome, rolling a 4, out of 6 total possible outcomes. The sample space refers to the set of all possible outcomes of an experiment. Clearly defining the sample space is crucial for accurately determining the total number of outcomes, which is the denominator in the probability formula. Real-world applications of probability. Probability is not just a theoretical concept. It has extensive applications in everyday life and various professional fields. From predicting weather to assessing risks in insurance, its principles guide decision-making in uncertain environments. Weather forecasting relies on probabilistic models to predict the chance of rain or sunshine, often expressed as percentages. In games of chance, like poker or blackjack, players use probability to estimate the likelihood of drawing certain cards. Medical diagnoses often involve probabilities, such as the chance of a patient having a particular disease given their symptoms and test results. For instance, in quality control for manufacturing, probability helps determine the likelihood of a defective product in a batch, allowing companies to set acceptable defect rates and implement testing strategies. Similarly, in sports, advanced analytics use probability to predict game outcomes and player performance. Practice applying probability concepts. Let's apply the concepts learned to some practical examples. When asked to describe the likelihood of an event, always consider the total possible outcomes and the specific outcomes that satisfy the event. It will snow in London in May. This is unlikely due to the typical climate. The next person born in the UK will be a boy. This is evens, as birth rates for boys and girls are roughly equal. You roll an ordinary dice and get the number 7. This is impossible because a standard die only has numbers 1 through 6. When dealing with dice, remember that an ordinary or fair die implies 6 equally likely sides, numbered 1 to 6. This understanding of the sample space is critical for accurate probability assessments.
Summary. Well done. You have completed the course Probability Fundamentals, Likelihood and Scales. You should now be familiar with Introduction to Probability, Outcomes and Events Defined, Likelihood, Words and Numerical Scale, Calculating Simple Probabilities, Applying Probability, Real-World Practice. Should you need to revisit any of the topics in this course, please use the menu at the bottom of the screen.